Today on Free Field Training, we're going to be talking about electronic hearing protection. When you go from the free stuff that the department gives you to go to the range, or the things that you find in a bucket at your local range, and you decide you're going to step up your hearing protection, the first step most people take is to go into electronic hearing protection. I'm going to assume you already know what electronic hearing protection is if you are here watching this video. If by chance you don't, it allows you to hear what's going on around you and various other things, while also protecting you from very loud sounds like gunfire, flashbangs, things like that. Today we're going to be looking at the most entry-level $50 electronic hearing protection, all the way up to the $250 to $800 to $1,000 electronic hearing protection, and what you get at the different price points between those two things. Even though they both do at their core very similar things, and they do them almost identically on paper, there's a lot of small granular detail that goes into the difference between $50 and $250, and then a whole lot more when we get beyond to the specialist headsets. Today I have electronic ear protection from Peltor, from Axil, and from Safariland. All of these were sent to me for free. I want to thank those companies for sending them to me for this comparison. If you want to know more information, or if you're interested in purchasing these things, there are links and coupon codes and whatever else I have down in the description down below. The cheapest end of the spectrum is your Peltor Sports. The middle of the road, these end up being between $150 and $200, depending on where you get them. Again, check those links down below. Are the Aixl GS Extremes. These are actually earplugs that are also an electronic headset. And then at the highest end, starting at about $250 and going on up from there, is the Safariland Liberators. These all, of course, also come in a variety of colors and stuff that you can check out, and different head options for the muffs. I believe that Peltors come with a connection that can go around the back of your head, and then there's just a simple strap on the top for more use with a helmet, or if you're not interested in having this piece across the top of your head. And these come in a variety of setups where they attach directly to helmets, or have wire setups or strap head setups in case you need to use this under an issued helmet. Starting from the cheapest to the most expensive, let's talk about the way these interface with your head, because that has a lot to do with comfort and how well they're going to work, and especially how well they're going to work long term. The cheapest entry here is your Peltor Sports, and as you can see here, there is a single muff around the outside and then foam in the middle. This is what's pushing up against your head, so you have a single gasket seal on there that just kind of seals around whatever you have on your head. It's very similar to the old cheapo earmuffs that you get for free on the range from your department, or when you go rent for $3 your headsets on the range that aren't electronic hearing protection. All of these have about 6 months of wear on them, so this is what they look like after you use them for a while. I've had several sets of these because they're $50, they're electronic hearing protection, they only last so long. You can see some of the damage to them already. It's just the windshields on the microphones on each side are a little messed up. These are actually two separate electronic systems inside. So there's a right and a left system. There's batteries in each of these muffs, and then there's dials to turn them on and off. The Axils are earplugs. They kind of look like some sort of Bluetooth thing that you would use for working out. And although they actually do have that functionality, we'll talk a little about that here in a second, the interface with your head are actually little foam bits that you have to roll to insert into your ears. And that's how it makes a seal up against your head. They're very much like the little foamies that we all get for free everywhere, that you have to roll to make smaller, and then you insert them in your ears, and as time goes by, they expand back out and seal up. That's the same way that these work up against you. And then you have a single set of electronic sound amplifiers inside that pipe in here. So it protects you from all outside noise. Any noise that's under a certain threshold, it pipes in. These do that as well, just on two separate sides as two separate systems. The Safariland interfaces with your head in a double gasket system that is a lot more squishy, I guess would be the technical word for it. You can see it keeps a lot more loft than these. See how thick the loft is on the pads on these? So if you're wearing eye protection, and there's an indent in the gasket, so if you're wearing eye protection, it gives it 2 places to seal around anything that's intruding into these. The features with the electronics on these is where they really start to come into their own and how their batteries operate. So we're going to go over batteries. With the Peltor Sports, you have to flip them around, reach your hand inside, and yank the pads off. The whole thing comes apart here, and you can see on inside, there's a foam piece here, and you have to pull out the AAA batteries and mount new ones inside, and then you put your foam pad back on, and then your cuffs back around, and you have to seal it back in. As you can imagine, not super waterproof. Water resistant, sure, not super waterproof. The plastic on the outside of one pair of these, a few years ago I had a pair of these that cracked. So if you hit them with something or somebody steps on them, they're very likely to break. The foam on here, the little wind protection, that's pretty much the first thing that always falls off of these. A couple times brushing up against your lapel or against your body armor, and these are going to come off. It helps a little bit with wind protection, not a whole lot. Normally what guys will do if they're running these for any serious purpose is, because, you know, they're buying their own gear and all they have is $50 to spend on this operation, is they'll rip these off and throw them away, because the wind attenuation you get with those isn't astounding anyway. With the Axils, they have an internal battery, and you charge them through a normal USB through this little rubber grommet thing. I'm always suspicious with these little rubber grommets about how water resistant this type of thing is going to be, but the good thing about these is that they stow away a lot easier. You can throw these in a pocket or in a bag and get them out of the water a lot more easily if you're out on the range. These, you're kind of stuck trying to find somewhere to put them, or put them in a plastic bag, and these are super waterproof because they're made by Safariland. These are designed to be going on operations with SWAT teams. So for your use on the range, even in very inclement weather, it's very unlikely that you're going to have a problem with these. My favorite thing about these, about the Liberators, is the battery compartment. It will take either CR123s or AAAs, and there is a very convenient door that you just slide open and slide closed to replace them. The interface for this is you turn it on and it powers on. It actually tells you inside here that it's turning on. Let me see if I can get the microphone to pick it up.
Power off.
And honestly, that's the only mode that I've ever used them on. There's 3 modes on these. One, you can power it on, and what it does is it amplifies the ambient sound around you, and you can change how much extra you get in. And the other 2 are for linking into radio systems. There's a lot of different upgrades that you can do to these, where you can wire them in to your radio and have a microphone boom and be able to use this as your lapel mic when you're out actually working. So that's really cool. Those are, of course, additional options on the Safariland Liberators. And if you're going to use them on the range, this is you upgrading from this type of stuff to this type of stuff. That's something that you're probably not going to be jumping straight into, but it's important to know that these can be gotten in those higher end packages. These also have stereo sound. You have a microphone on one side and the other. They're wired around the top, so you only have batteries in one side. There's only one set to replace, and it powers both of them to give you more hearing. The cool thing about all of these is that they actually amplify the sound in the environment around you. So you're going to hear things you wouldn't ordinarily hear without the earphones on. These can pump in your radio, your portable radio at work. This can actually pump in anything off of a Bluetooth. I haven't tried it, but I suspect you could Bluetooth this in with your radio with some Bluetooth adapters and be able to run your portable radio at work with these in. But I haven't tried it because I don't have one of those Bluetooth adapters, so don't quote me on that. It is something you could look into. But you can actually turn these on and play music over them. So one thing that I've been using them for on this side has been mowing my lawn. I've got quite a bit of lawn to mow, and I can Bluetooth these in, and this is my hearing protection And for my lawnmower, I can Bluetooth this in and listen to music or listen to podcasts and stuff while I'm mowing my lawn. I imagine for people on motorcycles, this would be a great thing as well. One advantage with the Peltors is it's pretty easy to tell whether these are on or off because there's actual click. You don't have to put them on your head to know if these are on or off. There's little click dials. One of the downsides is you can't see it from the outside, and if these are rattling around in the trunk of a car or a bag, they tend to click themselves on, and although all of these have enough life to get you through your average 12-hour day working with them on the entire time on a pretty high mode, if you leave these in your bag and you don't pull the batteries out of them, which again is kind of a pain in the butt, they click on and then you end up with one or both sides of these dead when you go to use them, and that's kind of a pain in the butt. These I think are best used for when you have a stationary location you're going to be at the range at. So if I was brand new to being a range master and I was going to get electronic hearing protection and it was going to be hung up at the range and only used there, these might be a really cheap way to get into electronic ear protection so I can hear what's going on, protect my hearing without spending a lot of money, and none of the downsides are really going to be evident with those. I don't need to Bluetooth in things. I don't need to hear my portable radio over them. I'm just using these on the range. These can be a really good option. These are best if storage space is at a premium and you don't want to have to buy batteries. These could even be like an EDC type of thing. You could put these in a smaller pouch. They come in this little container that has all of the accessories inside. They come with different sizes of these foamies in case your ears holes are smaller or larger, and it comes with a little charger cable. But you could definitely put these inside of a smaller little case and keep them in a jacket pocket or even your vest pocket and always have hearing protection on you. That's also electronic hearing protection, so it could be your earbuds for going to the gym and your earbuds for going to the range. So if that's something that if you're living out of the trunk of your car like I am, this might be a really good option for you. If they're going to get banged around a lot, if there's a possibility you're going to be fighting with someone with your ear protection on, and you might be indoors firing rifles, or you need to pipe in your radio directly into your headset so you know you don't miss what the radio is saying when the transmission cuts off from these. So let's say you're wearing the Peltor electronic hearing protection or the Axil electronic hearing protection, and you're trying to listen to your radio through the electronics that aren't wired in while something loud is happening. It's going to cut off the feed from the electronic attenuation. So what you're going to end up with is the radio sounds that you're getting is going to click out because it just clicks all noise out. And then it's going to come back on, so you might miss radio transmissions. If you can't possibly wait to miss radio transmissions because someone's firing a rifle or detonating a flashbang or doing an explosive or a shotgun breach nearby, these are probably what you're going to want. And luckily, these come in a series of prices going up with the ones you're seeing here being the cheapest ones, with just the headband across the top, no wiring into your electronics at all, just ear protection and the electronic hearing. So different tools for very different jobs. You don't want to spend more than you have to if you don't really want to, and you definitely want something that's going to meet your lifestyle if you've got other uses for these things in the life that you're living. Hopefully this gives you a primer on not only these three products, but also things to look for when you're thinking about doing electronic ear protection, even if it's from another brand. You want to look at whether or not it's hearing safe. All of these are, but some of them are at the lower or higher end of what's hearing safe. Be wary of what batteries they take and how those batteries are installed and what other additional features they have and what your storage requirements might be and some of the ancillary things that might cause problems with that storage, like having clicky rotating dials instead of buttons that are protected from bumps. That is electronic hearing protection. If you have any comments or questions, please put them in the comments section down below. Till next week, you guys be safe and take care of each other. Hey, thanks for watching Free Field Training on YouTube. And while you're here, why don't you check out some of these other goofy videos that I've made? Or you could subscribe or maybe go over to Patreon and see how you get your name put on the videos like these fine folks over here. All the links are, of course, down in the description. We'll see you guys next time.